makeup with this big hair. I think I'm getting a clip. Hey, hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 3, Episode 8. I know we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, but before we get started, well, I got a few people to thank. First of all, some tipper dues. Vito, you gotta stop it, darling. People are gonna talk. Stop it. Also, D. Rollins, I'm so glad you're feeling better, my lover. Yes, you were missed, but I'm also glad you're feeling more human. Or did she write feeling more humans? I'm gonna have to reread that email. I also want to welcome a new Patreoner to the Fingerdoo family, James Yeomans. Welcome, my darling. We do 2 live chats a month, so I hope to see you there. Also, well, we've got some Redbubble models. Shut your face. First off, this is Chris Jones. He posted this fabulous pic of him in his large D'Souza Wilma Pride tee on the Facebook group, the Fingerdoo Gang. Looking good, Chris. I'm just saying. Also, this here is Zotai's shower curtain. Yes, you can get the Denise Cherneau Wilma Railroad image, which raises money for Rainbow Railroad, in a shower curtain. Somebody asked, actually I think it was Denise, she asked if I did a shower curtain, and it's there. If there is something that you would like to get the Rainbow Wilma image on and help raise money for Rainbow Railroad, and it's not available on my Redbubble site, just leave me a note and let me know what you're looking for, and I'll see if it is something that's available, and I just haven't activated it. It's as simple as that, I'm just saying. And finally, we have Emily Hooker-Bariso. She got a Wilma Pride art panel, which she's going to be hanging in her office. Enjoy it, Emily, my darling, and don't work too hard. Seriously. If you would like to get any Wilma merch, or join me on Patreon, or support this channel by dropping off a tip or do, all those links are down in the description box below. Now, Jorge, drink me. Oh, what is this? Coke Zero with lemon vodka. Where's the lemon? Oh, you're out? You didn't get any? So that's the yellow. You're so lazy. Thank you, Jorge. This is delicious nonetheless. Okay. Let's get to it. So, we started this episode off with a very proud Kitty Scott-Claus entering the workroom complete with royal wave. As the Queen's all read Scarlett's message about her single talent getting her to the top 5, Vanity Milan, who still seems to be lacking even a single talent, if you ask me, was crowing about sending her home. Maybe that's Vanity's talent, overt confidence. Sounds like a good name for a fragrance. Overt confidence. Kitty, for one, was surprised that it was Scarlett that went home. She thought she would be there to the end, which is probably a nice way of saying that she doesn't think Vanity has any talent either. And then, as the queens took a load off, the first reigning queen of the Fugly pageant continued to crow about finally getting her badge. To be honest, I thought she was way more humble about it than she could have been, especially after all that ribbing she got for not having a badge for so long. Then the queens congratulated themselves for making top 4. Seriously, good for them. That's when Kitty asked the room who was the next to go, which always means whoever asks that question always has an opinion, and Kitty was no different. She thought the next queen to go would be Vanity. I'm shocked. As you can imagine, things got stroppy in the workroom after that. Although Vanity said she didn't want to be known only as a lip-sync queen, she felt she's got what it takes to win another one. Quick as you like, Kitty pointed out that no queen in the history of Drag Race has ever come back from 4 lip syncs. So, Vanity pointed out that Ella and Kitty hadn't lip synced yet and wondered if possibly they were afraid of coming up against her. They weren't, especially Ella because she had 2 badges. Plus, she was feeling that Vanity was floating on a false sense of security by focusing on winning 3 lip syncs and not the fact that she'd been in the bottom 3 times. Ella makes a good point, but I tell you, couldn't we all do with a touch of that unfounded confidence that Vanity's got in abundance? Not that we all need it. What? The next day in the workroom, the top 4 celebrated making it this far. Personally, I thought it was ironic that Vanity made a comment about the dead weight being gone. Well, not all of it, darling. Ella was a bit miffed at Kitty winning what she was hoping would be her 3rd badge, but Kitty quickly pointed out that Ella didn't only miss out on another badge, but on a sash as well. Something tells me that's a sash Ella's okay not to have won. Fugly. Not to be outdone, Crystal pointed out that she's the youngest person to ever reach top 4 at 19. I know, I thought Aquaria too, but she was 21. Anyway, before Vanity could try to shade Crystal, RuPaul's video message interrupted them. This week's message was peppered with sci-fi references, which had the queens thinking they might be portraying robots. Well, they were a quarter right. Thankfully, RuPaul popped in with this week's Maxi Challenge. The queens would be overacting in the year's lowest budget sci-fi blockbuster, Bra Wars, the Fempire claps back. Because Kitty won last week's challenge, she got to cast the roles, much to everyone else's chagrin. Of course, Ella wanted to play Bra Barella, the stunning airhead commander, but Kitty already had her eyes on that prize, which was her strategy from the get-go. Cast herself in the lead and put the rest in parts they didn't want to do. Finally, a queen who's not afraid to use her power to their own advantage. Here's the Kitty. Seriously. Crystal seemed to be fine with anything but the robot, since that role's description had the word model in it, and she wanted to impress the judges by not playing to type. She's perfect. She's beautiful. She looks like Linda Evangelista. She's a model. I don't know. I don't think that's a bad criticism to have. Seriously. Vanity was feeling good about the Baby YOLO role, which, from the description, didn't seem to have too many lines. I thought Vanity was excited by the acting challenge. Maybe she's a mime. That's when Kitty put her master plan into effect. To truly get a sense of how badly the queens would do in each role, she held a proper casting session. Welcome to the Kitty Scott Talent Agency, complete with costume. The other queens were delighted. Kitty had all the queens try each role and give her their best attempt at accents for some reason. But when it was all over but the crying, Kitty cast herself as Bra Barella, shock. Ella as her nemesis, Daft Shader, the leader of the dark-sided vampire. Crystal as She-3PO, Barbarella's sassy robot assistant, and Vanity in the role she originally wanted, Baby YOLO, Barbarella's bouncing baby boy. As the queens got down to memorizing their lines, Vanity discovered that her character was just ahead and that she was going to have to bring a personality to the part. Whose personality is anyone's guess, as she admitted that she and Crystal are the queens with no personality. I'm so glad that she said that because I didn't think she knew. Seriously. Something else that surprised me about Vanity was that she has problems memorizing lines. But wasn't she the one who was excited about the acting challenge? Yes? No? Crystal wasn't looking forward to the lines either because, well, she has dyslexia. Well, so does Cher, and she has an Oscar, I'm just saying. Ella and Kitty were feeling chuffed about this challenge as the only theater queens in the group with actual acting experience, and were convinced that Crystal and Vanity would struggle. Ella did make a good point, though. You need someone to bounce off of when you're acting, and if Crystal and Vanity ended up being wooden cutouts of themselves, it might cause her and Kitty problems. Thursday. Well, they wouldn't have to worry for long because the queens were off to the set to film Bra Wars with Mama Michelle. The first task at hand was, well, getting Vanity's head into Baby YOLO's bassinet. There were complaints. For the most part, all the queens had problems with their lines, but to be fair, with lines like Space Nut Milk, I'm not surprised. Vanity needed a little goosing on delivery because, as Kitty put it, she sounded a little too Marge Simpson as done by the laughing cow. You know, on the cheese. Ella's Darth Vader had her own set of obstacles because she was on another set filming her lines to be green screened in later. Still, with all the obstacles her character had to deal with, I was surprised that the professional actor couldn't remember her lines either. Even Crystal had her own issues. It seemed to be too much for her to add physical action to her line delivery, but Michelle seemed to be able to talk her through it, and it all worked out in the end. Did anyone else feel a bubble from AbFab vibe with her She-3PO? Just me? And then it was Elimination Day, and none of the queens were feeling confident with their performances, which was a sobering point to take in, as there was a 50-50 chance that two of them would have to lip sync. There was nowhere to hide a bad performance this week, I'm just saying. As the queens got ready, they discussed drag and the issues around it. First off, leaving their homes for a gig in full drag. Ella's neighborhood is fairly conservative, and she wasn't even sure her neighbors knew that she did drag. But then there's still a lot of violent homophobia in Britain. Ella and Vanity don't hold their partners' hands when they're out walking around because they've had bad, even dangerous experiences in the past, bless. Crystal talked about what it felt like having to deal with being touched all the time by guys who would normally pick on her out of drag, while Kitty shared some horror stories of being groped while performing at drag brunches. Oddly enough, all these abuses are caused by straight people who don't know better. Well, let this be a lesson to you, straight people. Don't touch the drag queens. Buy them a drink and tip them first. What's so hard about that? Seriously. And then it was time for the runway. Ru looked gorgeous in her silver asymmetrical metallic fantasy. Michelle was looking all growed up in her somber outfit, and Graham Norton was rocking a hand-painted jacket. And joining them this week, the delicious Russell Tovey. And if you don't know who he is, watch The Pass on Netflix. He's in his underwear for the whole thing. Seriously, I didn't know he was blonde and blue-eyed until this just now. Category is Scene Stealers. Up first, Crystal Versace as Cruella de Vil. And, of course, she was stunning. I only wish her fur had been black and white, too. But still, she was a solid Fingerdoo for me. Ella Viday's take on a female Oompa Loompa was stunning, and she got a well-deserved Fingerdoo, too. I may have liked this Baps look on Vanity if her dress had been a different color and she hadn't just worn that base pussycat wig last week. But still, I totally knew what she was giving us, so I gave her a baby Fingerdoo. Kitty's Titanic runway was just stunning. I wish she hadn't removed the long skirt, but still, it was also a Fingerdoo for me. And then it was time to watch Bra Wars. This was one of those rare moments when the editing helped everyone look their best. No one's performance came off as weak to me. Everyone got the laughs that they were meant to, and all in all, I didn't hate the story as much as I have with other Drag Race scripts. I will say Ella stole her scenes by dragging her hands noisily up her thighs and making that noise. Crystal's performance was a total surprise as well. For all her worries about remembering her lines, she did a great job, and the judges seemed to agree. Crystal was the first to get critiqued, and Michelle was the first to congratulate her on a job well done. Russell thought she was really funny, but Graham felt it kind of flatlined, although he didn't say why. As for Crystal's runway, all the judges loved it, including Ru, who asked her if she had fun in the challenge. She said she had. Good for Crystal. Ella was next, and after some impromptu Alyssa Edwards, Coco Montrese back and forth with Ru, Michelle thought she killed that challenge. Russell loved her rubbery leg grab, which was my drag queen name in high school. As for Ella's runway, Michelle was blown away, and Graham agreed that he was totally surprised by it. Ru was impressed with how Ella brought that script to life and thought she looked beautiful. I'm with Ella. I think she's looked way better. She's at least worn better wigs. Vanity got a lot of praise for her performance in Bra Wars too, and there were many jokes about her head. Just not the one you'd expect. What I'm saying is there weren't any complaints. As for her runway, Russell loved her look, calling it heaven. Graham admitted to not knowing the movie very well, but felt that Vanity was living it on the runway. Michelle would have liked it better if the dress had been a different color and she hadn't just worn that wig. Me too. Kitty was a favorite of the judges. Russell called her performance and pop culture references a total triumph. As for her runway, Graham loved how she told a complete story with her Titanic look. Ru was pleased that Kitty had made it this far in the competition. Did he think she wouldn't? Back in the workroom, the queens congratulated themselves on a job well done and then fought for Russell Tovey's attention. Crystal was still fretting over her critiques. She hadn't got the best ones, so she was worried out of the four of them, she was in the bottom. Kitty didn't disagree. In fact, she felt Crystal and Vanity were destined to lip sync, and, well, Vanity was okay with that because she'd won 3 already. Back on the main stage, all the queens were shocked to hear that both Crystal and Vanity were safe. I instantly realized that Ella and Kitty were going to have to lip sync for the win. And I was right. I also hated it because it meant all 4 of them were going to be going through to the finale. What's the point of the whole episode if no one goes home? Seriously. Well, I was right. Ella and Kitty were the top 2 queens and they had to lip sync for the win, which I didn't hate because We haven't seen them lip sync yet, so I was looking forward to this. They have to lip sync to Something New by Girls Aloud. I was already worried for Ella because performing the Girls Aloud song is Kitty's bread and butter, but Ella gave her a run for the money with her strutting and splits. Kitty didn't disappoint. She peppered her performance with humor and some surprising death drops. Who knew Kitty had it in her? When the music stopped, it was announced that they were both winners, even though Ru had said off the top that there would only be one winner. As much as I hate that, here's to both queens for a fabulous lip sync, and all four for a job well done. Seriously. So, what did you think? Are you as disappointed in the outcome of this episode as I am? Or are you happy to see all four queens in the finale? Or are you like me and wish they'd thinned out the herd? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like to support me and my channel even more, there are links to becoming a Tipperdoo, getting Wilma merch, and joining me on Patreon as well down in the description box. Until next week, miss me? Mwah. Seriously, Jorge. In my heart of hearts, I'm glad that they are all staying. I mean, if it wouldn't take hours and hours and hours to watch each episode, I wish they'd all could stay. I think it would be interesting to watch a season of Drag Race where nobody went home. They just accumulated points on a leaderboard. They wouldn't have to do a full cast of 12 or so girls. They could do it with 8. But just keep them all to the end, and that way we can start to see who's good. Because some queens are better in the long con. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, some people don't sparkle out of the gate. I would watch that season. Well, who's kidding who? I'd watch any season. I have so far.